Steller Blade and the surprising hypocrisy around it. Websites who would normally hate a game like Steller Blade where you have sexy women, dressed sexy, being empowered. Normally these websites would hate such a game. And yet I'm seeing articles where they are praising the game. So I wanted to talk the hypocrisy here because of course if you're one of my recent subscribers, you know that I am very excited for Steller Blade. And speaking of recent subscribers, thank you so much to all of you who have recently subscribed to me. I am blown away by the actual support. Like, I know in the land of YouTube, humility and humbleness isn't very popular. I love those sort of things. I'm grateful for everything I get, and that includes the 106 subscribers I got just from my last video, right? I consider that to be a huge deal. And I just wanted to say thank you. I asked you for support in that last video. I said, hey, fellow Smexy gamers, if you want to support a channel and a voice who wants to champion you and traditional gaming values and someone who will never talk down to you, please subscribe. And so many of you went up to the challenge, so thank you. In that last video, we were just celebrating the fact that, hey, thank goodness Sony is not censoring Steller Blade. And it was just a big celebration and all these excited comments that, hey, we can now look forward to the game. Awesome, that was like a week ago or something. So why am I talking about Steller Blade again? Well, when the trailers were coming out, I didn't look up anyone else's opinions. Frankly, I don't care what anyone else's opinions are, right? My opinion is never formed based on others. Again, if you like that, subscribe really helps the channel. But then I heard that apparently websites like Kotaku, Game Informer, IGN, The Gamer, websites who hate sexy women and especially hate gamers like me and you who support that sort of thing, they're all saying good things about Steller Blade. So I'm like, is that true? So I did my research and I looked into it, and I'm going to show you actual examples, right? Normally I don't bother with examples because I'm going to be real with you. One, normally I can't be bothered, right? I don't lie. So if I'm talking about something, I've really read it or it's happened. I forget that out there in the world, a lot of people tend to lie. And when liars watch another person's video, they assume they're lying unless they back it up with proof. So I'll give you a rare treat, right? I actually bothered getting the screenshots to back up what I'm talking about today. And I just find it fascinating because one thing that me and the awesome Smexy gamers in the comment section of the last video discussed was we think the tides are changing. We think it is a very good sign that Sony wants anything to do with Steller Blade, bringing them in as a second party developer, because it's very much against the woke agenda that Sony has been pushing for a while. Again, if the word woke upsets you, I can't help you, right? I can't help you. I like to have mature conversations. I'm not going to judge you even if you are woke. Just don't get upset by me using that word. It's an umbrella term. We all understand it, and I'm going to keep using it, right? I'm not using it as a personal attack. Let's chill. But getting into it, right? Let me look at the first example. And before I get into the examples of these websites and big media agglomerates, celebrating Steller Blade, like celebrating, not only just not disliking it, not only just resisting the urge of attacking it, but talking it up, contributing to what will be its success. Let's have a quick word, not from a sponsor, but from the director, Kim, the main guy behind Steller Blade. Let me read you a nice quote of his that I found. And you will like this, and if you like it, hit subscribe. Let's make this video blow up as well. Alright, so from the director himself of Steller Blade. Honestly, when I play a game, I would like to see someone who is that better looking than myself. That's what I want. I don't want to see something normal. I want to see something more ideal. I think that is very important in a form of entertainment. That is, after all, entertainment targeted for adults. I love this man. He is literally just saying what all of us feel inside and what I even said in the last video as well. I don't want relatable either. I don't want someone to look like me. I want you to look better than me. I want you to look amazing, and I want to control you, right? So nice to, I'm going to sprinkle that out throughout this video every once in a while. Boom. Let's have a nice keyword from the man himself making the game we are talking today. So firstly, let's cover The Gamer, right? There's a horrible website, do not recommend, called The Gamer, right? Which is quite ironic because the majority of their articles focus on attacking and shaming gamers every chance they get while lecturing. So here's a couple of negative examples of the sort of things that the gamer likes to post, and then I'm going to let you know what they recently said about Steller Blade, which is absolutely shocking. The tides are changing. This is amazing. Resident Evil 4 no longer sexualizing its women is a good thing. Okay, so there was some censoring with Ashley from Resident Evil 4 where certain lines were taken away from the game and so forth. Okay. Whatever, right? They've put their hat in the ring. They've let us know it's no longer sexualizing women, right? So, okay, so we have a little bit of a tone here. What about another example? Diablo 4's Megan Fox advert is sexist and dated, but it didn't need to be, right? So you can tell from the tone of just these two examples from the gamer, and to be honest, there was too many examples and I couldn't be bothered giving you more. I'll be frank, it's there, you can do your own research, right? But they clearly care a lot about how women are represented. They claim women are sexually objectified and this and that, and they didn't even like an advertisement for Diablo 4. Alright, what did this same publication release? Steller Blade is an Xbox 360 game in the best ways. That's right, Steller Blade is an Xbox 360 game in the best ways, and there's more than one article on this. The gamer who continuously is just attacking gamers who look like me and you, and that's included if you're a woman as well, they're excited for Steller Blade. They're excited that it's like an Xbox 360 game, and they consider that a good thing. Normally this place would lecture you saying it is no longer the Xbox 360 era and we need to be more inclusive and more this and more that. But they're excited. Let's have another word from the director of Steller Blade before I get into the next publication, doing a complete backflip, I hope they don't hurt their back, with the sudden change of direction they're doing. So another word from the Steller Blade director. And this is really cool. This is extremely pro-consumer, so you will want to hear this, like the video, subscribe while you're at it, help me reach even more like-minded people, right? If we're together, it's a lot harder for them to silence us, and who knows, maybe the next time someone is doing something very silly with a video game or the industry in general, maybe I can be big enough to make a dent, right? How cool would that be? Imagine I was just big enough where our voices can be heard. That would be pretty cool. So here's another word from Kim, the director of Steller Blade, and I quote, "There are about 30 different outfits available in this game." That's a huge number. "And they are all acquirable through gameplay. So you can explore, go on a quest, or go to the in-game shop to purchase them. You can enjoy that collecting element of the game. Also, by going on quests, you get to unlock hairstyles, so you can customize different looks. There are other accessories like earrings and glasses. But the important part is that these are all acquirable in-game without any additional purchase." Who is this amazing man that has jumped into our lives all of a sudden? Seriously, he's even talking about microtransactions for the most part, right? If they want to add that later on, sure. If they add DLC, sure, whatever. But he's letting you know, hey, these costumes that we've been showing you, there's a lot more and you can get them all in game and you don't need to spend extra money. And he's proudly boasting that. It's like this guy came from the literal 90s, early 2000s. He's like, I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, what made gaming awesome, and we're going to go back. So this has me really excited. Again, subscribe to empower my voice. I'm really enjoying this. By the way, it's not only just serious matters that I always talk about. I like hyping, right? I love getting excited about games because one thing I try to stress about is games are games. I like to get excited. I'm very passionate and I'm never going to change my opinion on something just because it's popular to do so. No, I'm selfish. I am selfish. I will only think about what is better for the gaming industry as a whole because I love games. Alright, next up, Kotaku. I can barely get the name Kotaku out without, I know the majority of you, hit like on the video, right? The majority of you, the moment you heard Kotaku, you rolled your eyes like, yeah, did I go for an easy one like that? I did, but guess what? Kotaku said nice things about this game. Yeah, you didn't expect that, did you? You wouldn't expect Kotaku, who hates gamers outright. Alright, let me remind you of some of the foul things that Kotaku has said in the past, and then let me let you know what they've said about Steller Blade. So I quote from Kotaku: "Sexism, character design, and the role of women in created worlds is as bad as it sounds, right? The claims that if we enjoy sexy women in our games, it's all about sexism and control and all these nasty things, right?" Another example from Kotaku. I've got some classic bangers here. And I quote, "How Anita Sarkeesian wants video games to change." So for those of you who have managed to forget about dear old Anita or never had the displeasure of coming across her content, long story short, during the early days of the newer version of feminism currently going around, right? She made being a victim and a woman in the gaming space popular. She looked at all the old video games, took the worst possible take, and managed to get a lot of coverage. She was very famous for quite a while for all the wrong reasons. So basically, any publicist who is lifting up Anita hates gamers. There's just no going about it, because she admitted to not playing games herself. She didn't understand games. She was quite open about that. And she would manipulate the viewer into misleading gaming information. One quick example I will give you, just in case you're new to her, is she brought up Resident Evil 5. You had two playable characters, you had Chris and you had the other chick. She was pretty cool. And after you beat the game, you could unlock a different costume for her, which was arguably more revealing. Okay, she used that as an example of sexism in gaming. It's like, alright, so where does her argument fall short, and where did she manipulate and mislead the audience on purpose? Well, she didn't mention that in that exact same game, you could unlock a new costume for Chris, which basically had him shirtless, with all his bulging muscles and everything. It was very interesting. That should bring up the sexier alternative costume for the woman as an example of sexism, but would conveniently forget that Chris, the other guy, was actually revealing more skin than her. So, funny about that. Alright, so what good thing did Kotaku say? Well, again, it's going to shock you. From Kotaku, the people who hate sexy women outright, and they talk about this, it's not even a theory. And I quote, "Everything we know about the stylish action game Steller Blade." Stylish? Stylish? You've been lecturing gamers for years now that we've all stopped coming to your site. You've been lecturing gamers for years, saying that anyone who has any appreciation for the sexy female form is a bad person, is a bigot, is whatever buzzwords that they like to use. And then all of a sudden, they're cool with Steller Blade? Like, this seems really weird. Let's jump to the next example. So, the Game Informer, right? A publicist which I have a mixed relationship with. I love their magazines, and half of their takes are really good, but occasionally they get really woke out of nowhere and attack the viewer. It's really blindsiding. They're not consistent with their messaging, right? I think certain writers just do their own thing and bring the brand down, but let's write this down, right? So, the Game Informer, yep, they're another publicist that has a lot of woke takes, and also promoted Anita Sarkeesian. Need I say more? What did they say? Project Eve gets slick and action-packed trailer. Now, hypocrisy in the gaming space is nothing new. By all means, let me remind you of some fun examples, which I pointed out at the time. Remember before Resident Evil 8 came out and all that thirsting for Lady D, the big tall vampire chick? Even if you never played Resident Evil 8, you know about her because everyone was thirsting about it. All of the big publications, I mispronounced that, but anyway. I remember there was even a tweet from IGN where they were saying how they were thirsty for her and that they would like Lady D to step on them. Also, we have recent examples of, if you like, human interactions with bears in Baldur's Gate, that's okay. We also had Bowser. And just reminding you that the same people who typically used to lecture people like us are doing backflips whenever they want and whenever it is popular. This is the key thing. Whenever it is popular to objectify a man or female character, because there's been lots of examples of the objectifications happening with the men, if it's popular, we're okay. If everyone else is doing it, it's okay. And everyone else, for the most part, is pretty excited about Steller Blade. So who cares if she represents everything that they have been against for like the last 5, 6, 7 years? Who cares? We need to ride the popular trend. So I wanted to point out this really weird hypocrisy. It's just out in the open where they shouldn't like this game. They shouldn't be excited for this game. And their positive takes, because their takes aren't wrong for once in their career, right? Their takes aren't wrong. This is an exciting game. I think Eve, the main character you play in Steller Blade, does look really cool. I think the game looks awesome. I'm going to be getting it day one. I want to support this. So I agree with them. But the hypocrisy has to be noted, because I personally, on a personal human level, hate hypocrisy. Because hypocrisy means that you were a liar before. If you have values, you need to stick with them whatever they are, or at least learn in the process. But when we're talking about businesses, they just follow whatever they think is trending. And at the moment, Steller Blade is trending, so they're all over it. So there you have it, right? Kotaku, The Game Informer, IGN. I actually came across more examples, but I can't be bothered showing it. Alright, I did find it. It is there. And they're all excited for a game that they should hate. Maybe, just like Sony, where the tides are slowly turning, just like Sony, where they're helped with the development costs of Steller Blade, and their influence is going to really help this game sell as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Maybe everyone else is finally catching on. Maybe the video game industry has been tired of losing money, and maybe they're tired of video game studios shutting down all the time. Maybe they would like to make money again, and maybe the attitude of the media as a whole will shift as the general values of the people shift. Even though ignoring the fact that most people have been against the current social movements altogether and we just want to enjoy games, my stance is politics in video games, get out of here. Video games is about escapism, is about having a good time. Super excited for this game. Super excited for what the director himself has said. I mean, unlock 30 costumes, get different hairstyles, get earrings, get glasses, get all these things, unlock them all in the game. You don't have to go to some freaking DLC and pay $5 a costume or any of that modern rubbish. It's just in the game. That is exciting. That is how games should be. I cannot wait to support this game. And from what I've read up online, I think everyone else is going to do this. I think we are going to have a fantastic game. And who knows, we may refer to Steller Blade as the tipping point one day in the future, when things have finally returned to normalcy, and we need to think, when did the shift start to happen? I think a lot of us will point to Sony, surprisingly, because they've led the way of going in the wrong direction. I think people will point at Sony and be like, I think it started with Steller Blade. That was the first female-led video game with a sexy character where everyone was in celebration, not just a handful of hardcore fans. And I am down for that. That being said, God bless you all, take care. I'll see you all for the next video.